So if you don't know by now, then you should probably get familiar.
Hi students, so welcome to one more short video on Nicol prism. Okay, so this is one of the optical device, very important device in the polarization. Okay, it is discovered by William Nicol in 1828. Okay, and then the name is Nicol prism. So let us see the construction of Nicol prism first. So he has taken a quartz crystal or calcite crystal particularly, so in the form of a cylindrical shape, okay, whose length is normally 3 times greater than its breadth. Okay, and then so its angles are made or grounded and polished in such a way that so whose angle is reduced from 109 degree to 112 degree at one side, at one corner, and other side its angle is reduced from 71 degree to 68 degree. Okay, it is ground and well polished, optically polished. Okay, and then the blunt corners, across the blunt corners it is cut like this. Okay, a principal section is there, so it is along that section it is cut and made into 2 pieces. Okay, and then these 2 pieces of the calcite crystal is again joined. Okay, again joined by using a transparent material called Canada balsam. Okay, so that Canada balsam is a highly transparent material whose refractive index always lies between NO and NE. So you know what is NO? Refractive index of ordinary ray. So whose refractive index is found to be 1.658, and NE refractive index of extraordinary ray 1.486. Okay, so whereas our Canada balsam refractive index is equal to 1.55, it lies in between these 2 values. Okay, so it is chosen and made it as adhesive. Okay, adhesive material between the 2 cut pieces of the calcite crystal. So then you will get this kind of device, optical device called Nicol prism. Okay, so that is the manufacturing part of the Nicol prism. Now what is the use of this Nicol prism in polarization? So in our polarization, so one can use this Nicol prism as a polarizer and as well as an analyzer. Okay, so first let us see how this Nicol prism works as a polarizer. So as you know, if we consider a light emitted by a source, so usually the light emitted by the source directly considered as unpolarized light. Okay, so when it is passing along the principal axis of the Nicol prism, okay, so it is just allowed to pass through like this. Okay, at this part, okay, so at the point of incidence itself, so there are double refraction takes place. Okay, you know the mechanism of double refraction in the calcite crystal. So due to double refraction, the light undergoes polarized at this point itself. Okay, we get the 2 rays like this. So one is called ordinary ray, in which the vibrations are perpendicular to the incident plane, and then another ray is considered as extraordinary ray. So extraordinary ray consisting of the vibrations parallel to the plane of incidence. Okay, so both are polarized light. Now we have to analyze the polarized light. Okay, only one polarized light. So what you have to do then? You have to eliminate one of the ray. That is why we are using this Nicol prism. How to eliminate in the Nicol prism one of the ray? You just see the ordinary ray. Okay, so when it is refracted and obtained as a ordinary ray at one part of the Nicol prism, then it is incident on the division part. Okay, division part consisting of what? Canada balsam with the refractive index 1.55, right? So at this point of incidence, okay, if you see that the light is traveling from, for ordinary ray, light is traveling from denser medium to rarer medium. Okay, with a particular angle. Okay, so that angle is greater than the critical angle for the total internal reflection. So with that condition, the light undergoes total internal reflection inside the same denser medium. Okay, and then it is not entering into the other part of the Nicol prism. It just reflects back due to the phenomena called total internal reflection. So now you look at this ray. The reflected ray is just absorbed at the other surface. Okay, so these surfaces are actually blackened, not transparent, and hence the light is not coming out of the prism at all. It is just absorbed here itself. So in that way, one of the ordinary ray is eliminated. Okay. So you have to analyze only the extraordinary ray. So this extraordinary ray is allowed to pass through the polarizer at the other end. So this is the exit end. So light is exited. Okay. So emerging out of the polarizer. So in this way, first part of the use of Nicol prism is to get the plain polarized light from one device. Next, it is allowed to continue to fall on the other Nicol prism. Okay. So that it adjusted to receive the light in the same axis. Okay. You just consider the light the same axis of the Nicol prism, and then you look at the Nicol prism functionalities. Okay. So this analyzer is used to rotate. One can rotate the analyzer in such a way that, okay, we can rotate it to totally 360 degree. Okay, complete 360 degree you can rotate. So what is the help? If you rotate it completely for 360 degree, how we can make it as analyzer to observe the extraordinary ray in terms of its intensity. You have to observe the intensity, how the intensity varies, okay, to the final emergent ray. Okay, so now we can see the analysis here. So when theta is equal to 0 degree, so we get the maximum intensity. So one can observe the maximum intensity because in that particular angle, so both the Nicol prisms are in the same position with there is no difference, okay, in the angle of angle difference is 0 degree here, and hence we get the maximum intensity. Clear? Right, next, when the theta is equal to 90 degree, how to get theta equal to 90 degree? So you have to rotate the analyzer so that it makes the angle theta degree with the incident ray. Okay, so then the maximum intensity is reduced to completely 0. Okay, maximum then decreases intensity, finally it becomes 0 at theta equal to 90 degree. You continue the rotation further. Okay, theta equal to 180 degree, exactly it is in the reverse direction. Okay, it is reverse like this completely. Then so when theta is equal to 180 degree, again you will get the maximum intensity for the emergent ray. Then again continue the rotation for 270 degree. It becomes again opposite to 90, so you will get 0 intensity. Okay, so then rotate completely to come back to the initial position. So that is equal to 360 degree, and it completes one rotation. Then again you get back the maximum intensity. So like this you can analyze the final emergent ray, whether it is highly intense or minimum intense or 0 intense. Because if you get exactly like this, maximum to 0, 0 to maximum, maximum to 0 again, then this particular emergent ray is said to be perfectly plane polarized light. Suppose if it is varying between maximum and only minimum, not 0, okay, maximum to minimum, minimum to maximum, like that, then the final emergent ray is said to be partially polarized light. Okay, not perfectly plane polarized, it is partially plane polarized light only, we can say. In that way we can analyze the polarized light using the Nicol prism as analyzer also. So very important device. Using this Nicol prism, as I said, one can make use of it to produce the polarized light and as well as to analyze the final emergent ray. Okay, so next we'll continue how to make use of this Nicol prism to analyze different type of polarized light, like plane polarized light, circularly polarized light, okay, and then elliptical polarized light. Okay, so I'll come back soon. Thank you.